Be Hope Church, Happy New Year.
Well, kind of. We're close. It's like a couple days away, so I think it's close enough to say it. We're good.
It's post-Christmas, almost New Year.
Yep.
I hope you've just been like vegging out on the couch for the last few days because obviously we have. If you can see our attire today, we have come ready to be comfy.
Yes, as I feel like we should. It's a beautiful, probably chilly morning wherever you are. So we hope you guys are in your pajamas and just so excited to be joining us today because we've got a lot going on today, Molly.
We do. We are going to celebrate everything that God has done in this past year. And we're going to talk about it as a team, as a group. And then we're going to hear just a message from Brad today. But we are so excited to dive into this past year because our mission at Be Hope Church is to be someone's first church. And so we have seen God accomplish that mission in crazy ways. We have seen so many people come through the doors and experience the hope and grace of Jesus. And it's been the best year ever, don't you think?
Oh, I totally think so. And I feel like the way that we are kind of meeting that mission is it's like one of the small things that or not really small, but one of the things that we get to celebrate is baptism. And Molly, I can't tell you the amount of people that I've heard of that's just this last year that walked into the doors for the first time, had an encounter with Jesus, and then ended up taking that public, just that next step within their faith to publicly declare their faith in Jesus. And it has been so much fun to watch and to be a part of because at the end of the day, throughout this last year, we've been able to live into the value of we move forward. You see, this last August, we completed our 10-year vision in 7 years, and it was so good and it was so great, but we were also so grateful that we had that theme of we move forward because that reminded us, hey, okay, yes, God has done so great. God has done so much, but we can't just sit and wait and live in what God has done in the past. We have to be able to be confident to move forward in whatever direction that he's leading us to.
Yeah, and I truly believe that God has been preparing us throughout the year for what is to come. And so we want to be able to celebrate everything that he has done through Be Hope Church throughout this year. And then we're going to look forward on to what's to come. So I don't know if you guys have experienced this past year or not. Have you been here around? Have you been around this past year?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wait, let's rephrase the question. Is there another place that you've been to more than this place in the last year?
Absolutely not. Not for
Okay,
me.
good answer.
Maybe my house. I don't know.
I like your guys' jammies today. You guys chose well, so.
I think Robbie's is my favorite because it has all the lights on it
Thanks,
and everything.
Robbie. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's also kind of cheating at the same time, but we're just going to let it go for now.
I'm a little bit confused as to Ty's shirt, though. Do you sleep in a shirt with Brad's face on it?
Every night.
Oh.
That's so
All right. Red flag. Okay.
Well, let's probably get back on track a little bit real quick. And we just, Sheila, I want to start with you. Just like as you've looked over this last year, what's been like some of your favorite parts about it?
Wow. I love everything that has been happening to Be Hope. The energy, the excitement, everything has been growing and getting stronger and better. It's been amazing to see people inviting their friends. I feel like again and again, people are bringing their friends and their family. And we have just seen how all of our services have grown and how people are engaged. And my favorite part is when people come in and go, there's just something different about Be Hope. Like there's something more. And that's my favorite part, to hear those stories again and again.
Yeah, we call that the Holy Spirit. So
Boom.
that's pretty good.
Me too. Yeah,
That was good.
I would say in addition to that, like the invitation piece, we always say it every week, one invite will change a life. But what I appreciate about our church is we set out these invitation cards nearly every series. And pretty much after the announcement, like every last card is gone. And I'm just grateful that we have a church that is bold and courageous.
Yeah, and my favorite part about that, it's not just on Sundays, like on Wednesday nights, if there's any like invite cards left over, like I will see students walk out with like a dozen and I'll like question them. I'll be like, okay, like if you're not gonna actually use it, right, don't take them. And they're like, well, no, I'm gonna invite my teachers and this person and my friends and all this. And I'm like, actually, here's another 12. Go and invite everybody that you ever met before.
I think that's been one of the most exciting parts is that students and kids invite their teachers, invite their friends. And like, hey, I want this to give to my classmates, especially when we've had like best weekend ever or a baptism, like it's just made a difference. And we've seen so many people come because of that.
Yeah, they're like more valuable than Pokemon cards at the school. So it's pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. That's fair. And I think that we have this value that's just a part of who we are, that we value the invite. And we also see that online because we say sharing is caring. And we always say it's the easiest way to invite your friends to church. Sometimes
I really do think it is too.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. And so have you seen that, Sydney, just that impact of online?
Man, I think the cool thing this year is I've gotten to see kind of people coming into this place starting from online, but then also we've seen people who have attended in person and then they move away and they're able to kind of take the Be Hope culture and values with them. And so it's been really cool to see. We've had people come from out of state to be baptized this year who started online. And then we've also, again, seen people who were here, attended in person, and moved cross country, and then were able to invite friends from the new state that they lived in to watch online. And so just getting to watch people experience the hope of Jesus for the first time is so cool. And getting to watch them take steps of faith and inviting their friends into that with them has just been, it's been the absolute best this year. It's been a good year.
yeah, there's this really cool part where actually this last summer, for the first time, I joined online on vacation during a baptism service. And like, when I tell you, like, that was the first time I had truly experienced like online baptisms before. And it was one of those things where it's like, I was on the back porch of our Airbnb, like jumping and screaming. And like, I was so pumped up and I wasn't even there. That just speaks to the power of the online platform that we have too.
Yeah, it's the best. Having that camera like right in the front at baptisms is just, man, yeah, it's the best.
You get the best shots there too.
That's true.
Yes. Generally, I feel like you have to nudge like students or people out of the way because we are front row people here at Be Hope Church.
Exactly
but
right.
Yeah, it's still a good camera shot. It's good.
I have loved the conversations that I've had with people who check us out online.
Yes.
And they're like, so then when they come in, they're like, oh, I kind of know what to do. I know what to expect.
Yes.
And same with Ironton as well.
Yeah, the online platform, it serves as our front door too. And so
Yeah.
it is really cool to see how that plays in across campuses, across locations.
Yes.
It serves that same purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have people who serve in Ironton on the online campus too, as
Yes,
well.
that's correct.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which I love so much. And so we're going to continue this theme of just being a front door for people where people feel comfortable to take that first step to come into the doors for the very first time and feel comfortable and feel like they belong. And we've seen that with our first time guest numbers throughout the whole year that that number has just really skyrocketed. And so Ty, I don't know if you have any thoughts on first time guests and just how you've seen that impact your ministry.
Yeah, well, it's affected me and my family personally because this football season we got really close with multiple families, but there was one family in particular that we had been close to for a long time, and we had thrown out the invite here and there. But this time around, it kind of just stuck, and we were like, hey, like we were sitting at football practice, and we were like, hey, let's just give it a try. So they came. It was the weekend after Best Weekend Ever, and they have not missed a week since then. And one of the cool things was that we say every service is just give us 3 times, give us 3 visits. And they were like, well, we have to give it 3 visits. But that first visit, they were like, we know this is where we need to be. And it's just been cool to watch their whole family kind of transform. And the mom, Whitney, she got baptized. My wife was able to baptize her. But one of the cool things was, they're involved in sports, like many other families are. And their youngest son, who is completely new to the church, they are a first church family. He was invited to a wrestling camp, and he was like, I'm either going to be late or I'm not going to go because I got to get right with God first. And he's 10 years old. So it's just been so cool to have a front row seat at close friends changing their lives because of God and their relationship with him. So it's been so cool.
Yeah, exactly. I love how you mentioned that part of like, hey, we ask you guys every single week to give us 3 weeks. And that's just a perfect example why. And at the end of the day, it's not just because, hey, we want you to be here and we want our numbers to grow and we want all that stuff. It's because I feel like we truly do believe that if we continue to show up, even if we're uncertain, even if we don't know what that next step is, like that is literally a step of faith to just keep showing up at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talk about their whole family unit attending and how, as a family, this is changing their life to have God at the center of their family. And we value the fact that this church is for families. It's for single people. It's for everyone. And we get to see that throughout all of our age level ministries. And we get to serve with students every Wednesday night. And we are biased and we think it's the best, actually.
Because it is the best, just so we're clear.
Yeah, and Kelly serves with students in Ironton, and she has an incredible group of students down there and Hope team members who are serving alongside. So what's been your favorite part about students this past year?
I gotta admit, it's this fun part with student ministry. One of my favorite parts about it is just over this last year, we've really kind of developed this culture to where if Molly or I or literally anybody says, "Hey, students, go find your youth pastor," they don't come over to Molly and I. But that's a really cool part because they look at their small group leaders, the volunteers that aren't paid to be there, that are there literally every single Wednesday night. They look at them as their youth pastors, as their spiritual leaders. And at the end of the day, I feel like for you and I, it'd be really easy to be like, "Oh, we're doing something wrong, right?" Like we're not. But at the end of the day, I feel like the cool part is, hey, that's a sign that we have a healthy ministry, just a healthy group of leaders and students, because it's like, man, these volunteers are making such a great impact on these students. And then once we see that impact, we see them serving on the weekends on a Hope team. We see them taking steps like getting baptized. We see them saying, "Hey, I want to go through Hope Discovered, and then I want to find a classmate or I want to find somebody else who I can then take through Hope Discovered." And so it's just really, really cool just to see the way that we can step back or maybe even not be there for a night. And the students and all the Hope team members, they don't even flinch. And God is still moving throughout the whole process.
Yeah. And I think of one of our students named Cooper who has always had a faith, but he just recently started coming to Be Hope this past year. And his faith has transformed. And we have seen his faith grow in these crazy ways where he actually had an encounter with the Holy Spirit during an anointing service. And he felt compelled to be baptized. And so he signed up and he was baptized. Then he was taking Hope Unleashed. And in Hope Unleashed, he said he wants to become more generous. That's the person he wants to become. And he's a high school boy. And I just to hear that from someone who could be really self-conscious about their status, could be really self-conscious about how other people view them. And the fact that he is proud of his faith and that he is growing in his faith is incredible to witness. And we love being able to do what we get to do. But I also know that we have kids, young kids who attend our church.
A lot of them too.
Yeah, we do. There are a lot of kids who come throughout these doors every weekend in Ironton and on our Beaver Creek campus. And we see people who are serving with them. And Lily is an example of someone who serves with who serves with kids. And she actually got her kids dedicated this past year and then jumped all into a Hope team. And it has transformed them. They don't miss a weekend. They're always here. Their lives are changing because they have decided to serve other people. They've decided to prioritize other people finding a relationship with Jesus, and it has grown their faith, which is incredible to see.
One of my favorite parts about what you were just saying there is it's like you were talking about a kids ministry, but one of the adults is taking steps of faith because of the kids ministry and the ability to step in and to serve. I think that's awesome right there.
Well, and it's as a parent of kids in the youth group and in just kids ministry, and to be able to see them get visibly upset when they are going to have to miss a Wednesday night, it just speaks so highly of what you guys are doing, and they just love being here. They hate missing, so it's just fantastic what we see through students and kids ministry here. So,
and I think the beauty of this is kids ministry is not a side conversation at Be Hope Church. We feel like kids are front and center. We shared this in our 5-year vision statement. We think what happens in our kids space is more important possibly than what happens in this space. And I think we do an amazing job. Our volunteers do an amazing job of creating a captivating experience where kids are engaged with God's word and they're having fun. Can we just be honest? I love that our kids can have fun at church. And I know that's not always the cool thing to do, but I think you can grow and have fun at the same time. And I'm just grateful that we have such an amazing kids experience here at Be Hope.
Exactly. And you're talking about how it's fun sometimes and how a lot of those volunteers actually help make it fun. And if we think about it, we have so many people that help make Be Hope Church happen every single weekend. Like we have that saying, right, of like, hey, if we didn't have the Hope team, like we wouldn't be able to like run anything. And I think some people don't realize we truly believe and we truly mean if we did not have the people that we do serving every single weekend, we wouldn't be able to make the impact that we do. And Robbie, I'm sure you definitely know a thing or two about just being able to rally a team and just really relying on them to help make a weekend possible too.
Yeah, we get really excited about Hope teams at Be Hope Church because we get excited when people live out their purpose and they live out their calling. And if you've been through Hope Unleashed, you've heard some of this. If you haven't been through Hope Unleashed, I encourage you to sign up for Hope Unleashed.
That was good.
Thanks, Connor. I appreciate that. But we talk a lot about purpose and calling and what it means to be part of the mission of God. And it really is true that our church, Be Hope, we run on our Hope teams. And it's exciting when people get to live out their calling. It's exciting when they feel like that, hey, they have ownership, that like they are an integral part of our church and what we're doing, and God's doing things through them. And so that always gets me pumped up. Here at Be Hope, we have over 700 people across locations and online that are serving as part of our Hope team. And so it's a privilege to be part of that, and I get excited to see people step into that for the first time.
Which I love so much. I love that we were talking about kids spaces and all of that and how that's a priority, and our Hope team is a priority and makes all of the difference. And kids spaces and Hope team is one of the biggest things for Ironton while we're pushing for a new location so that you can have more people serving in kids areas, that you have more space for kids to be able to learn and grow. And so I'm sure you guys are in that phase where you're facing that just anticipation for what's next and trying to be content where you're at. Like I'm sure you're wrestling with that.
Absolutely. But we're excited for what's to come, and we know, as Pastor Brad said, like we want to create that captivating experience, and we do what we can right now, but we're excited to see how we can take another step forward with that.
Yeah, and Ironton has experienced a lot of baptisms actually this year, and one of the things that I love is that you guys, your baptismal is different than ours. It's like a trough, right?
yeah, absolutely, from like Tractor Supply.
Which I love, and so, but it doesn't stop people from coming forward, and it's the same experience. There's nothing holier about one form of baptism than the other. And so, Brad, what has it been like of stepping into this vision and this 1041 and where we've been and how we've surpassed that this year? What's that experience been like?
Yeah, I think one of the joys, obviously, coming into the beginning of the vision of 1041, 1041 baptisms, like. It has been fun to take up a vision that has already been set, and the passion that has been behind that with our people has really encouraged me to continue carrying the mantle as we've continued to move forward with this. I'll just say this: I love visiting other churches, and one of the things, like I've visited a number of churches over the course of this year. And they're great churches, fantastic churches. But as I look around, like what makes us different is the passion behind it, right? Like I just think somebody said the success of a person is not the position, it's their passion. And I love this idea that, again, on Hope Team, back to Hope Team real quick, like we don't talk about positions here. Like you just see the passion of people. And as we started growing closer to the 1041, like you could just sense it and feel it. I have friends say, like you just feel the Spirit of God every weekend and you sense revival is happening. Like we don't need to call it revival for it to be revival. And so coming into this year, I think we had like in August, we're like, we don't know when we're going to reach the 1041. And so we're like, let's just put a series together and let's just see what happens. And I think we needed well over 50 baptisms going into the month of August to reach this 10-year vision. And so we just did baptisms every week. And it was amazing. Every week it was like, who's going to get baptized now? We had 20 some the week before. And then there's 20 more. And then there's, 7 or 8. And every single weekend, it was like, what a powerful move of God. And I think, obviously, I have to just say one of my favorite stories is, how do you say the 1040? Is it once?
First? The 41st?
I like that. No,
I like
one.
41.
One person. I love Melody's story. She was the 1041, and her testimony is so simple. It's, I want to follow Jesus. And I think she's in 5th grade. And I was thinking about her story. Like you would think 1041, you're like, sometimes we say that was a really cool story. And usually it's like something being restored out of a broken marriage, or somebody's life being changed after addiction, or somebody coming out of prison and finding the hope of Jesus in their life. Like those are really cool stories. But as I was thinking about hers, we could easily sit there and say, that's kind of a normal story. But I was thinking about her decision in 5th grade to make Jesus the center of her life allows her greater time in her life to live into God's purpose than to make serious mistakes in her life, causing her time that she could have been giving to the kingdom. And so I love that moving forward, she's just said, for the rest of my life, I want to follow Jesus. And I think the harvest, I think the reward, I think the returns that she will see will be far greater in her life than maybe what I've even experienced in my own life. Because I've been down that path. I've screwed things up, messed things up. It took me forever to get right with Jesus. And I look back thinking, man, I didn't waste time, but it's like, what could I have done in the 10, 15 years I'd not had it right with him? And so, man, that's the miracle, is when people begin to step into their purpose, passionate about what God's doing. And we have to celebrate 1,041 baptisms. 3 years early. It's amazing.
That's pretty powerful. I have loved baptism and watching the Celebrate Recovery community come around when somebody has given their life, when their life has changed because of what God has done in their lives, and they are baptized, and it just becomes this reminder like, oh, God is still working. God continues to work. And when we celebrate every week, every month, is just this powerful reminder that God is doing incredible things, and we can't neglect that.
Yeah, there's this cool part where you're talking about, you're like, oh yeah, specifically like Celebrate Recovery will come and surround them. But like at the same time, I don't know about anybody else. I've just witnessed people that'll go up and they'll surround somebody and they will pray with them. And then afterwards they turn around, they're like, I have no idea who that was. Like it's that cool moment of like, they're like, I don't know who this is, but I want to be a part of this. I want to pray for them. I want to support them. I want to walk alongside of them while God just really starts to take a handle of their life.
Yeah, I think that's been powerful when somebody has come from online. And when like it's their first time here, but they want to get baptized because they've been watching online, and just surrounded by people to say, nope, we support you. We're all in this.
Yeah, it's that cross campus, like no matter where you are from, you are a part of Be Hope Church and you belong here in your family. And so, yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, and even though they're all serious and they're all awesome and powerful, I've got to admit, there was a couple moments that were a little funny. Brad, you're about to explode, so I'll let you go first.
Too much coffee this morning. No, I'm totally kidding. Definitely my favorite. I always laugh because when people get in the baptismal, I always feel like it's like when you're thumb wrestling. It's like this weird like, what are we doing here? And I know we're giving instructions, but like the instructions are so like there's a lot going on with where you place your arm and how you do things, and it's always fun to watch people try to figure it out in the baptismal. But I think my favorite is sometimes I think we just give poor instructions. I think Connor gave this amazing kid great instructions. What did you tell this kid?
I told him to plug his nose.
I think we have a picture or maybe even a video of this, but he literally plugged his nose, and it was the best. It was the best moment ever. I don't know. That's one of my favorite baptism moments.
For me, I could tell you that it was not the best moment ever. I was panicking, like, what am I supposed to do? So I just didn't do anything. I just let him do it.
You would think that the horse trough at Ironton, though, is fail-proof. It's not, though.
It's not. I've learned that I need to change my instructions, because used to I would always say, feel free to hold your nose. And everybody's always taken me up on that, except this year we had somebody who opted not to. And I realized I had no place to put my right hand. And so my default was to go for a chokehold. So now I always make sure to say, hold your nose. It's not an option anymore.
It's a requirement.
You wouldn't want to be a part of these 5,000.
I feel like that's what we do. We put things in like, oh, we need to add this now. Oh, we need to make sure someone is helping in this place because of how we've messed it up.
I think when I'm thinking about it, one of my other favorite moments, non-baptism, baptism teaching moments, was when, Connor, I had you suffocate underwater multiple times to make a message.
And people just laughed. Like they didn't do anything. They
the more
laughed.
you would go under and you come up sucking for air, the audience would just lose it. And that was a fun moment.
Well, what's funny is as you're sucking for air, Brad's loving it. And so he's like, do it again, do it again.
And what people didn't realize was I had a really cool online camera right on me. But what people don't realize is if you go up and down in the water repetitively, like my shirt was like all the way up here. And so I'm already not able to breathe. I'm self-conscious because everybody can see my belly. Like it was not, I'm glad you had fun on that day. But
Best moment ever.
all right, I'm glad I could do my part.
We are humble here at Be Hope, and we always learn from our mistakes, and we always are trying to get better.
I think too, like I know we're not talking about, we are talking about Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah,
I
we
think
are.
it's so cool. Ironton has just launched their Celebrate Recovery ministry. It's been fantastic and that's exciting. And I also want to celebrate our Celebrate Recovery ministry because they have sacrificed in many ways and have moved days in order to allow our student ministry to thrive on Wednesdays. Yeah. And that just goes to show the kind of culture that we have here, that we will do anything we possibly can to make this a space where people can experience the grace of God in their lives. We'll do whatever it takes. Yeah. And I just absolutely love that. So I'm grateful to all of our Celebrate Recovery ministry folks, sacrifices you have made, and to see the growth and the baptisms within our student ministry. And we're excited for all that's going to happen in Celebrate Recovery with Ironton.
Yeah, it's true. We did that series called What a God, and I feel like that is a great way to summarize this past year. What a God that we serve, that we get to witness lives being transformed each and every weekend. And so this doesn't stop here. Like this isn't like yeah, we did it. Okay, this year's done. Now let's just pack it up and go home, because there is so much to look forward to, because we know that God is doing something new, that he is just getting started, and he's calling us to be courageous in this next season because we're going into the unknown. We're going into new territory. So how do you guys all feel about your specific ministries or just the church in general? What are you excited for in these next 5 years?
I'll go first. One thing that are just within talks within the worship team is one thing we're really excited about is the opportunities for worship within the prisons. There's been so many people have come to me and said, "Hey, like, what can we do? When can we start?" So to see our team rally around that idea has really been a fun thing to watch. So I would say for us right now, that's really something that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Also thinking about new campuses, physical campuses. I'm really excited for the people who have been watching online for a while who are just a little too far to come in person, and then maybe giving them a campus that they are close to, and that they can then attend one of those campuses in person is going to be really exciting to watch them be able to step in person and experience that in a different way. So I'm really excited for that too. Yeah.
I'm excited to see Celebrate Recovery continue to take off at our Ironton campus as well. I'm thankful for KD, who volunteers to lead up that ministry, and it's really in its infancy stages right now. We've seen great partnerships with a local recovery in town called the Phoenix Center. So shout out to the Phoenix Center ladies. We're grateful to have you guys as part of Be Hope Church, and it's just been really cool to see them step into Celebrate Recovery fully. So we're excited about the future of that. We're excited about really creating some captivating space for our kids and for our students in the future, and just really becoming, allowing our Ironton campus to become its full potential on serving families well, and allowing our spaces to be a tool for ministry in our community. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for all the people. Like, we're just talking about, I know, we're just getting started. There's this reminder that, God is doing something exciting. And there's this excitement that people are like, hey, we did 1041, but we're just getting started. There's so much more. And so more and more people are going to be affected by somebody inviting them, by coming in, by watching online, by stepping in. And so I'm just excited for all the people to show up and be here.
It's going to be the best.
That's
So
good.
fun.
As I think specifically about student ministry, one of the things I think of is the fact I'm like, I feel like our student ministry, we can fit into each of the one of the 5 L's, whether that's, if you think about a new campus, it's like, okay, we need to have leaders who are ready to go start a vibrant and fun and just exciting youth ministry at these new campuses. And just throughout that, like Brad was talking about a little bit earlier of like, hey, our students and our kids, they're not the church of the future, they're the church of right now. And so when it comes to that 5,000 lives and those 5,000 baptisms, like I fully expect students to be a big part of that number as well.
Yeah, and I agree. And who we are as a church is because of you. It's because of you showing up. It's because of you sharing your stories and telling us how God is moving in your life. And we're so grateful to be able to hear that and celebrate that. And we're actually going to transition now to a video of the stories that we have been able to celebrate in this past year because of what God has done in your lives.
My son Colson was born the summer of 2019. He was a happy, healthy baby. He's still one of the best parts of our life. It wasn't until he was about a year where we started to kind of get the idea that maybe verbally he was a little bit behind, but the idea that I just really wanted to hear, "I love you, Mom." It was just this discouragement, and it's obviously what we were doing was not helping. God had been moving. Like, I had been expectant in my faith, and yet I wasn't seeing the ways God had moved in his life and the things that I had been praying for.
I love you. I love you.
God, when I was baptized, I was at the end of my rope. I knew something had to happen. I went so long running, I was ready to run to baptism. God, you have allowed me to see that I do have worth. I can be anything that I want to be, but I can't do it on my own, that it's you to guide my steps.
I just lived under the pressure of seeing others successful at the expense of my own health and mental health and the mental health and health of my family, until I realized that it is a daily sacrifice, that it is transitioning everything over to God. All of my gifts, all my creativity, anything I may or may not know, it's all God.
God, you've changed my life through your love. I'm so grateful you encouraged me and led me to baptism. When I lost my mom, she ensured me you'd always be here even whenever she wasn't able to be. You gave me the strength to endure and peace through your loving kindness. I thank you that in the midst of whatever I face, that you remain present. May my relationship with you be the foundation of my life, and may I always seek to honor you in all that I do. Amen.
I remember in my faith walk, when I first started as a new Christian, going to multiple churches and how uncomfortable it felt and almost angry I mean, I remember being in the audience angry when I felt that the pastor and the church cared more about the donation that I was going to give than who I was as a person. And that really kind of put like a wall in my heart and allowing me to break through it to even a deeper relationship with God. And when we talk about just completely giving it all to God, that includes our finances too. And it was letting go and saying, hey, no matter what, whenever we look at our budget and how things are coming in, we are going that first 10% is to the church, it's to God, because He's going to do something powerful with it that we never could.
Father God, I thank you for guiding me to be baptized alongside of our daughters. It was such a special experience to be baptized myself and then remain in the water to baptize each of my girls. I thank you for these conversations and the baptism that have helped us develop a strong foundation with Christ at the center of our family life. My hope is that everyone that comes through the doors of Be Hope realizes the power in building a relationship with you. Your love can truly make all things possible.
I was an atheist for, I would say, about 30 years. When I lost Oliver, people always sent me these, like, when you see a red cardinal, it means that he's near. And that never meant anything to me. And then over the last, 6 to 8 months, you always have this, like, okay, God, where are you? And when we got home, on my porch, there was this little red cardinal. That was the moment, the first moment where I'm like, okay, you hear me, and I hear you. And instead of doing this alone, we're gonna do it together.
She puts her hands on my face and she goes, Steck, I think you had a stroke. So I had to change my focus about me, and I can do this and I can do that. There was something about when I turned my perspective to faith, everything got so much better. Knowing that God is here and God is going to help me get through this, like, I had so much more confidence. And every day I thrive, not only to make myself better, but also to make my faith stronger, that as long as God is here, we will get through it.
I realized I was very similar to Emma in that moment, that I was a child of God. He was holding me. And February of 2016, she took her last chemo. 5 years out, she is considered cured. And now He's got her, and His plan for her is perfect, so much more perfect than what I would want for her.
Man, how amazing was that?
It was the best, actually.
It was the best.
It was the best. We're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for the fact that you shared your stories with us throughout this year. We're so grateful that you are watching with us right now. But I think it's time for us to all kind of leave. Brad said he had a long speech to give after this.
Who knows how long it'll be, but it's going to be good is what we know.
Yeah. So we're not done yet. You're not done yet, but we're done. So we're going to get out of here. We hope that you have a great New Year, and we'll see you back here in January.
Hey, Be Hope Church, I hope you had an amazing Christmas with your family and your friends. I know you are still sitting around in your pajamas, and the rest of the crew, they took off to go take a nap in their pajamas. I, on the other hand, have to continue to work here, but we're glad that you're joining us online this weekend, preparing for the new year. I hope you have an amazing new year as you step into 2025. And I really want to just take a few minutes to talk about where we're headed in the future. And I know that we're just coming off Christmas, and we've got the warm and the fuzzy feelings going, and maybe we have some other feelings going because we had too much to eat over the course of dinner. I get that. I'm feeling the same way. But I want to go back to a story that we shared on Christmas Eve with Simeon and Anna. And I really didn't have a lot of time to talk about Anna's story, but I want to just highlight a couple things real quick. If you go back to Luke chapter 2, verse 36, it says this: "There was also a prophet Anna, the daughter of Penuel, the tribe of Asher, and she was very old. And she had lived with her husband for 7 years after her marriage, and then became a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying." I was reading her story, and I was thinking about two things. One, the Bible really doesn't say how old she was when she became a widow, but we just know that she lived a long life as a widow until the age of 84. But it also mentions that as a widow, she went to the temple every day where she prayed, she fasted, and she worshiped God every night. And two things stuck out to me. The first one is this, is that as I think about her life as a widow, there is a pain to her life. There is an ache to her life. I'm sure she misses her husband. And I find it interesting that even in her pain and suffering, she still finds herself in the presence of God. And I just want to make this connection with you because I know some of you are coming off the holidays and you've lost loved ones, you've lost family, you've lost spouses this year, you've lost people who are extremely close to you. And I know this is an easy connection, but I need you to see that in your suffering and pain, what I believe Anna is showing us is that God is always present with us in that. As we've been saying in 2025, preparing for this, that God is with you wherever you go. In your hardships, in your loss, in your doubts, in your questions, in the things that don't make sense, in the things that you didn't expect. God is with you wherever you go. And so if you are feeling an ache, a pain like Anna feels in this moment, I truly believe that she is exemplifying for us that God is present with us in that moment. But more importantly, there's something else that is taking place within this text that I think we should highlight. That even in her pain, she is still passionate about God. I don't know what you think about when you think about the temple, but to me, worshiping every night, fasting and praying, I do those things for maybe an hour on a weekend or an hour in the morning. But to do that every day, every night, until you died at the age of 84, that seems like you should be pretty passionate about what you're doing. And I find it interesting that in the Latin, the word suffering or pain is also translated passion. And the connection I want to make today is that we naturally understand the things that we are passionate about are often the things that we are willing to feel the most pain for. The things that we suffer in, the things that we sacrifice for, are the things that we're most excited about and passionate about. Let me give you an example. Maybe you're in high school, or you can think back to when you're in high school and you had absolutely no money whatsoever, and yet you wanted to buy them a special Christmas gift, the person you were dating. You probably sacrificed, suffered, and painfully spent every last penny you had on a gift because you were passionate about your relationship. Parents, your schedules, your calendars are packed to the gills, like you are exhausted. You are willing to sacrifice your energy because you care about your kids. If you've ever had a car that you desperately wanted, how many of you have made this deal? You're like, I won't go out to eat, I won't drink coffee, I'll pretty much sell my kids off, I'll do whatever I can to, I'm totally joking about that. I'll do whatever I can to make sure I can get this car that I'm passionate about, something that I love and enjoy. And I really want to challenge you in this next year. I know this is not a message that we all want to hear, but what would it look like for you in this next year to sacrifice, maybe to experience a little bit of pain in your life for the thing that you are passionate about, and not just what you're passionate about, but what God is passionate about. I was meeting with a friend for coffee the other day, and he is much wiser than I am. And as we were talking, I was just asking about our year-end offering. I was saying, Jim, how do you know what you're going to give at the end of every year? And he said one of the most profound things. He said, you can actually be generous without sacrificing. And he said, I always want, when God is working in my life, I always want to sacrifice in such a way that it hurts just a bit, that I can feel the pain just a little bit. And I got to tell you, church, as I was praying about what we were going to give at the end of the year, maybe like you and maybe like others, like the reality is you've got bills to pay, you've got things that you need to, you just have so many things that you're paying for that are coming up. And I found it interesting that as he said that, I don't know that I was necessarily going to feel the pain of what I wanted to give. And in that moment, I felt God clearly say to me, no, if you are truly passionate about this mission, if you're truly passionate about this church, if you're passionate about the vision that God has given, maybe you should feel the pain. Now, I'm speaking to me, but this is my hope for you, that as you step into this next year, that you wouldn't just set goals of losing weight or becoming a better parent or, finding better relationships. Those are all important and really good things. But I want to invite you into something bigger than you. I want to invite you into something that God is calling you to. And we believe here at Be Hope Church that in the next 5 years, to share our vision, God is calling us to 5 new locations, 500 leaders, and 5,000 lives. And we don't know how that's going to work, and we don't know what that's going to look like. We know that in many ways it may not go according to plan, but here's what I do know, is that without people who have an unreasonable response to their faith, we will not be able to accomplish what God is calling us to. God can accomplish whatever he wants, but God is looking for people who are obedient. And I want us to be the kind of courageous people who respond unreasonably in faith to the thing that he is calling us to. And so my question for you is, if you're passionate about what God is doing, if you're passionate about pursuing hopeless people, if you're passionate about people experiencing the hope of Jesus, what would you do in this next year for people to experience the grace, the goodness, and the hope of our God? Would you be willing to become a leader? Would you be willing to join a hope team? Would you be willing to guide somebody in faith? Would you sacrifice time with people and friends, and sometimes even family, in order to connect with people who are new in faith, who desperately need to be led in a way that shows them who God is and how he is leading them and teaching them? My hope for you is that you would begin to pray about how you can be part of the 5-year vision that God has given us. Remember this: 5 locations, 500 leaders, 5,000 lives by 2030. And we want to pursue hopeless people for the kingdom of God. And as we step into this year, be courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged, because God is with us in our pain, in our suffering, but in also the things we're passionate about. I hope you have a happy new year, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday.